ridiculous. It was an EF0 tornado, and it touched down this morning in Carson. This stunning cell phone video shows the twister hitting the side of a building and debris swirling everywhere in the air.
Wow, the twister, brief but destructive, 75-mile-per-hour winds ripping off part of a roof and leaving tarps tangled in a power line.
Look at that. And we have tornado team coverage tonight, starting with Rena Nakano live in Compton and Reno, the second one in a month.
Wow.
It struck again.
Yeah, exactly. Second official one in a month. That is what the National Weather Service is saying right now. And as you said, we know for a fact that the one that touched down in Carson earlier this morning, that one was definitely an EF0. But I'm standing here in Compton, which is a couple miles off to the east, and there's plenty of damage here too. Our weather team just got an update from the National Weather Service. They say that this one could possibly be a second completely separate tornado if it did touch down. They do say they still need their staff to come out here and survey the damage to make sure, but it is starting to look that way. But plenty of damage to go around, unfortunately, in both Carson and in Compton. Power lines exploding, planters flying in the air. Instead of watering wholesale plants, workers at New West Growers in Compton are busy cleaning up.
I see everything just kind of in a circular motion going up in the air, and the debris is just, everything's getting picked up. Our table flew away to who knows where.
Viviana Hernandez was at her family's nursery when dark, ominous clouds shrouded over Compton. She said strong winds lifted hundreds of feet of their garden tarp into the air, some getting caught in electrical lines above, starting a fire.
My grandma was outside when it happened, and it kind of blew her back. It was that forceful to blow her back, but I just kind of grabbed her and pulled her inside.
According to the National Weather Service, this was one of at least 2 wind events that happened Thursday morning just before 9. 3.5 miles west at the Del Amo Behavioral Health Systems in Carson, an EF0 tornado touched down just before 8:50 a.m., uprooting a tree and stripping away roof panels.
Our palm trees that are, fairly large, were blowing sideways. We thought, whoa, are we having a little tornado? And then all of a sudden, you see that tree topple over. Residents and businesses lost power for a few minutes, and at least one car was damaged, but the person was able to drive it away. Meanwhile, back at the nursery, Hernandez and her family are picking up whatever remains on their property. Still in awe that 1 minute of tornadic activity could obliterate their livelihood.
Honestly, it felt like it just went straight through this nursery and that just disappeared.
And back out here in Compton, just to give you a comparison, what happened in Montebello a little bit earlier this year, that one was an EF1 compared to the one this morning in Carson, which was an EF0, so it is a little bit weaker. Good news is we do know that there are no injuries both in Carson and in Compton. Live in Compton, I'm Rena Nakano, KCAL News.
Wow, what an experience, though, for people who were right there in the middle of that wind event. All right, Rena, thank you so much. I mean, I was caught in a very heavy downpour on the 605 this morning as we turn to our meteorologist, Markina Brown.
And Markina, as we've been saying, this is the second destructive tornado to hit the Southland in just over a month. What is going on?
Active weather, a lot of instability is what's going on. Both of those things are 2 definite contributors to what we saw not only today, but when we had the Montebello tornado. I want to take you back to earlier this morning when this thing kind of happened, and it's right here along the 90, the 710. You can see it as it pushes towards Compton and then moves towards the east a little bit, even into places like Downey. So this is the culprit, and it doesn't look like it could do as much damage as it did, but tornadoes in any form can do damage, whether it's an EF0 or as we saw, an EF1. So with this Carson tornado, some of the first reports happened at about 8:50 a.m. Again, a confirmed EF0. Again, as Rena said, we are waiting confirmation on a possible second one, and this is the third LA metro tornado this year. More on what you should expect weather-wise as we get into later on this evening, as well as this weekend coming up in just a little bit. Back to you.
As you say, it could be 3. Thanks a lot, Markina. And to recap this unusual, bizarre weather event, the tornado in Carson comes just more than a month after this EF1 tornado touched down in Montebello. This one ripped off roofs here, causing damage to 17 industrial buildings. At least one facility was forced to shut down permanently, leaving 60 workers without jobs.
Switching now to the rain, and sadly, this spring storm turning deadly. This morning, crews had to pull the body of a man from the Coyote Creek Flood Control Channel in Los Alamitos. A search and rescue team just scoured the area, and they did not find any other victims.
And those canals filling up after a night of soaking rain, no matter where you live, from coast to downtown and out in the IE. It was a wet commute this morning. Our crews spotting crash after crash, including this accident on the 605 in El Monte. Some drivers telling us they are just sick of the rain.
We want the heat, we want the sun. I just recently moved from Louisiana, and I felt like we brought this rain here, so it's like,
But not everyone is tired of the rain. We actually talked to a landscaper here working through the storm. He tells us that the rain helps the plants, of course, and as long as it's not pouring down, he enjoys it.
It's a snowy mess in the San Bernardino Mountains. Take a look at this video. Several cars sliding and spinning out, or just simply getting stuck in those snowbanks. One driver flipped over on a curve, actually, in the roadway.
It is everywhere, top to bottom here in the Southland.
Yeah.
Let's get back to meteorologist Markina Brown right now.
Tracking the snow, tracking the rain, and then what's left of this storm, Markina.
Yeah, let's get to radar because that is a part of the activity, right? We knew from the beginning this wouldn't be a very heavy rain situation. And right now we're really just seeing nuisance isolated showers here and there. You can see them kind of scattered over the Santa Clarita Valley, maybe a few now moving into the basin. But other than that, it is just about the clouds, the cooler temperatures. And if I zoom in here a little bit closer, if any area as we head towards later on tonight, or at least until we get rid of our daylight here, gets into some heating, they could see an isolated storm. So if I go down to Orange County, places like Redondo Beach, or further than that, even Huntington Beach, you can see that there is some clearing in some of these areas. And so maybe an isolated storm is possible. But for the most part, I think what we'll watch for as we go through tomorrow are just a few isolated showers here and there. But temperature-wise, should you expect a warm up? And when should you expect it? And what is on tap as we get into the weekend? We will talk about your entire 7-day forecast coming up in just a little bit. Until then, back at you.